Thank you guys for tuning in. It was a blast for us, and look forward to seeing you on the next episode. Have a good night.
Guys.
And we are live in the studio. This is the Unmasked After Show. Thank you for watching Kicker Unmasked. Ernie, Brandon, Jacob, and even Drew Jones. You guys did awesome tonight. But here, we're going to have some fun. Shenanigans, I guess we could talk SQ, and anything you'll really want to talk about. Kicker, car audio, content, you name it, you came to the right place. But we have to start off the party, so the intro, it gets me going. It gives me a minute to get everything set up too. But I like it, so we'll see you guys in 3 minutes. Would you look at it?
So we're kicking it with Andy, right? You know what that means. We living loud.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you, Shoot Dog, and everybody else tuning in tonight. How is your Tuesday going? I hope it's not just another Tuesday for you, because it is Tuesday. Hello, everybody, and thank you so much for tuning in. It is Tuesday, and this is the after show. Of course, no rigging contest tonight. That was Kicker Unmasked. and Kicking It with Andy where you do that, so it's not too late to enter a giveaway, just the wrong show. But I appreciate you hanging out with us tonight. Basehead Cook, appreciate you. Again, Shoot Dog, Shane Britton, you guys are awesome. I hope everyone's having an awesome Tuesday because, most people, they're just going to be like, man, it is only Tuesday.
And it's only Tuesday.
But here we have fun on Tuesdays. It's something to look forward to. And, man, just awesome show tonight. Kicker Unmasked. Man, just sound quality. It's not that it's not my cup of tea. I just don't know how to make the tea yet, And then once I get there, then it's like, okay, cool. I can make it. I'm going to start drinking it more often. But I do like to make things sound good. And it's just that second level with the sound quality competition stuff, man. You really kind of got to know what you're doing with that, where it's equipment. 7 microphone array. I mean, we got a binaural tester over here. That's got 2. 7? Like, that is insane. But you know what? If you want to have the proper just staging, the sound positioning like you are at the concert, but you're actually in your Geo Metro, that's the way to do it, man. That is the way to do it. And they explained it to a T tonight, and awesome systems. And I was just really shocked that everything was an L7T or a Comp RT shallow driver, but they do work well in sealed enclosures. And when you talk about sound quality, that's the number one thing I think of, is a sealed enclosure. It just makes things a little bit easier to get there. And then there's Infinite Baffle. That's a whole nother thing, too. Appreciate you guys hanging out. It's late, it's Tuesday, but we're here, we're having fun. Everybody's starting to take their seat, but they're forgetting to smash the like. Come on, guys, just take a look at it. Love ya. Thank you for tuning in. Basehead Cook, Keith, appreciate it. You're back again. Came just to hit the like before I hit the hey. Appreciate it, man. Catch some Z's, and yeah, man, just thanks for hanging out with us tonight. Appreciate you guys. All right, I am bumping over here just a little bit too loud. Man, turn down the gain just an inch. B5O from Mobile Solutions, thank you for hanging out with us. He is present, seat is taken. Thank you for hanging out, man. And William, would you look at that? Andy knows that sometimes you just gotta step back and look at it. Would you look at that? Would you just look at it? Just look at it. I mean, if we're gonna look at it, we're gonna have to just do the Ernie enhance. You really gotta look at it when you're looking at it and say, would you look at that? Would you look at that? And usually it's a square kicker, man. Usually. Not every time, but sometimes it is. Appreciate you, William. Thank you for hanging out. Appreciate you guys. Frank, how you doing, man? Again, thank you for hanging out. And yes, I had to put it on. When I got it in the mail, like I literally was going to put it on as soon as I got it. I had some wrinkles. I'm like, this thing needs to air out. This is one of the new Kicker t-shirts that they have. Kicker.com, Kicker new tees. It's literally on the main page right there. That's the back of it. And you see the front right here. The C10T, man. It is awesome, and it's comfy. I could see myself sleeping in this after, like 2-3 years of wearing it. Yeah, I'm going to be sleeping in it. It's comfy, and it's just soft. So, thank you so much. Shoot Dog, appreciate you guys. Man, you guys were great tonight. Live, we are in here. Thank you, Fee. Appreciate you again tuning in. Sean, how are you? Doing well, man. Just glad it's Tuesday. I don't have to do a Sheets. It's great. Sheets has been kicking my butt. Went out to Altoona last night. Took 2 days to do one store. It was that bad. And we had one heck of a crew. Appreciate you. Kurt Snyder. Ed Basemaster, would you look at that? Would you just look at... Wait, what the heck is going on here? What is going on here? There's no way. Not no Ed Basemaster up in here, but you do gotta look at it. You just gotta look at it. Appreciate you guys. Is there any giveaway tonight? That was earlier for the Kicker Unmasked show. That is when the giveaway is popping. Usually 7:30 Central or 8:30 Eastern is when that starts every Tuesday. Kicker.com/UMWeekly and ends an hour after. So we are already past that point. But thank you, Sean, for tuning in every other Tuesday here and every other Tuesday there. And that is this Tuesday. Thank you, Sean. At least is Kicker fabulous. Thank you for tuning in, Bobby. Is Kicker fabulous? That is awesome, man. You got to be Kicker fabulous. If you're not Kicker fabulous, what are you doing? What are you doing? Let's see here. Jeff Wallace, thank you for hanging out. Been a little while. Hope you're doing well, man. Love the Team Kicker logo. Hope you and the family are doing okay, man. Thank you for hanging out. And there he is. We got to cue it. Cue, not the drum roll, Uncle Bobby B.
Uncle Bobby B, baby. Uncle Bobby B.
Thank you for tuning in, Bobby B. Appreciate you, and Dubby for the win. And there is Dubster. How you doing, mate? Good day, mate. Thank you for hanging out with us all the way out in the Alsea area. Appreciate you. And awesome Sean. I haven't said awesome in a while. It's been a while. Next week for Living Loud with Andy, it's Sean Richard. Next week, yes, that's for the giveaway. Thank you, sir. Peter Drew came on the Kicker podcast with a sundown hat on. I know. I was like, yeah, Drew, you put the wrong hat on. I mean, I do it sometimes too. You know, I'll put a Kicker hoodie on and I'm going to Sheets, you know. You put the wrong hat on, the wrong hoodie. Wrong job. Thank you, man. Appreciate you tuning in. I was like, oh, it's okay. Hey, it was last minute thing, you know? You always forget one thing. And usually it's me with the sub going, but we know it's working because it's kicking already from CAE. Would you look? Oh, it highlighted it, but it didn't throw it on the screen. There it is, and it's not Friday, but it's close enough. We are all looking forward to the weekend, and man, I'm excited too for this next Kicking It with Andy show. I got it cooking, man. I just been doing a lot of research on it, and it's going to be a good show. But yes, I'm looking forward to the weekend. I got a lot of work to do. But thank you, CAE. Appreciate you again, man. If you're looking for more car audio live stream content like this, go check out his channel. Thank you, CAE. Appreciate you. Carl Brindley, appreciate you for hanging out. What is up, man? You guys are awesome tonight. Thank you for just hanging out with me. I mean, Kicker, they always do an awesome show every Tuesday. And it's just like, you know, I just started to go live after because, like, there's some things that I wanted to say. Like, I wish I could be on the podcast, like, you know, like every Tuesday and say things, you know, just be like that guy in the background. I don't know if you watch like big podcasts, you know, there's always that guy in the corner. He doesn't say anything, but then something comes up and then they just pan to him and he just got something brilliant to say. I want to be that guy there all the time. But the after show, that's kind of where it was born because I wanted to talk about what they were talking about. And, you know, not every show is going to be a hit, you know what I mean? Sound quality, what can I talk about? I'm more of an SPL guy, and I keep it basic, which is what 95% of the population does, is just keep it basic, but make it sound good, too. Maybe not 95% with that. At least they keep it basic, yes. Appreciate you guys hanging out. Kind of bored with the single sub size, doing multi-diameter sub arrays now. Wow, multiple diameter sub arrays now. I mean, you know, I feel like whenever you're trying to get into the sound quality aspect of things, and then yes, you want to keep, you know, the sub sizes the same to make things easier. But I know with sound quality, not just SPL, but sound quality more, you know, and with proper crossovering and phasing and time alignment, just like how they're saying, oh, my front sub in this and my rear sub is that, and the, you know, they're all doing their own job. So then when you have like a 12-inch sub playing like, you know, 15 hertz to 25 hertz, and then you got an 8-inch sub going above from 25 hertz up to 45 or 50, 60, whatever. You know, you get what I'm saying, to cover those different ranges. So, I mean, hey, you know, that's more power to you, man. Thank you, Jimmy Dean. Appreciate you for tuning in. That is crazy. Does SQ mean deep pockets? You know, that's a thing too. With sound quality, it's not cheap. It's not cheap. So is, you know, SPL, it just, with anything, man, you know, once you get into, like, the weeds, then it's like, okay, man, I need this, I need this, I need this, I need this, and then if I want to do this, I need this, I need this. It starts to add up. Absolutely, dude. You're talking total remodificating your car, not just to make it, like, for SPL, where it's like, okay, I gotta weld this shut, or I gotta, you know, sound dampen this, or I have to do this, like, you know, wood, metal, whatever. It costs money, but sound quality, I feel like there's a lot, there's even more, probably even more testing, because you're not just trying to get one number. One number with SPL is that number you're trying to get on the meter. With sound quality, you're trying all these 20 hertz to 20,000 hertz and different positioning, like, and it's just, there's a lot that goes into that. And don't even get me started on the RCAs. Those are really expensive. See, some people pay some pretty pennies for some RCAs, man. Someone's pair of RCAs could cost your entire system. Let's see. I think the kicker sent me to the wrong sticker. Oh no, Dubby, don't make me look at it. I'm not going to look at it, Dubby. Love you, Dubby. Andy, is the box in your work vehicle extra small for that 15? Yes, Frank, it is. And I wish I had a picture pulled up of that. I did have some things here. But yeah, that box, that's why I didn't say anything about it. Just because, like, it was a box that was literally for an L715 that I got off of somebody when I purchased my L515, right? So this box, I mean, it definitely works and it's loud, but it's not entirely what the L7X15 requires. Sorry, I'm on the wrong Wi-Fi. I was just going to show the one picture, but I got to now. Let's see, iShare DC, cool. Pulling that up. Might take me a minute here, but yeah, it's small. It's definitely small. I measured it. Again, I knew it was tuned to like 38 hertz, which is just kind of funny. You know, usually you tune to 38, you know, that's going to be a pretty peaky box around like 45, whatever. It does peak at 41 hertz in that car. But it also plays down to 25, and that's because the port area is really on point for what that L7X requires, but the box is small, right? So in total, it's like 4.3 cubes, but with the port including, we're looking at like I think it was 3.5 or 3.6. Port's huge. It's like 4x17, which is right around what that requires anyway. So it works, and it's small, but it's kind of perfect for the work vehicle just because I can fit all the stuff that's, you know, just in the back there. You make sure, see if this is working here. Let me at least go to the things that I had queued up. You know, I always forget one thing, and this was actually two things. But yeah, the L7X already took some numbers, took some names and some numbers with my dad's vehicle there. It literally rattled loose an entire bolt. And you can see I got that thing like Gorilla duct taped underneath and styrofoam underneath that plate. That plate was just boogieing, flapping really bad. So that screw kind of unwinding and just disappearing. Not too surprised. But I did have a picture of the box because it's not a clean looking box. Whatever. It's just not. But it's functional, and that's kind of the point with that. I just wanted to play the L7X15 because I never did until 2 weeks ago. Not even. Let's see here, man. I got so many sheets, pictures in here. Here's a good one right here. Let's see. Boom. And yeah, it's rough. It's MDF. It's leaking. The corners are not even cut correctly. They're for an L5 or an L7. So I got duct tape literally going over the corners because you have to have they have a different cutout because you got screws in the corner. But this box is small, 29 by 17 by 20. It's very small, and the port is like 4 or 4.5 inches by, what would that be, 15.5 there. So it's definitely small, but it works. And I have it on a CX1800 at half ohm. I metered it sealed. It does a 145 on the dash sealed at, what was it? I think it was 41 hertz. You know, that's impressive. And honestly, I was going to do a whole nother box for it, build it and make it nice and kind of clean. And I'm like, you know what? This one works. It's loud enough, and it sounds better sealed up than windows down for lower frequencies. Because lower frequencies, it will just start to unload. But if I keep those windows up, man, it just plays the lows down to 25 hertz, like effectively. And then, you know, brick wall kind of falls off. But yeah, it's definitely small. But I wanted to play it. I wanted to play it, Frank. Appreciate you for the question, sir. Andy, would you just look at it? Check your text messages on your phone. Okay, let's take a look. They're hitting me up now. I gotta look at it. Okay, Shannon. All right, let's take a look at it. I should be able to actually. Yeah, you know what? We can do that. See, look at that. Won't be full view or anything, but we can. Let's see. What if we spin sideways? Oh, would you look at that? That JS alternator takes power to make power. That is awesome, Shannon. Appreciate you sending that to me, man. She just text message. That's the way to go. And then looks like a 4-pin connector, I believe so on that one. And then you got your positive stud right there. And on the bottom is where it mounts, right by his thumb there. But that's awesome, man. You know, I remember whenever I first got my first high output alternator, and you know, it's just, you know that your system's just gonna play better. It's a different feeling. It really is, man. It really is. Thank you, Shannon. Appreciate you, sir. Man, I'm glad I had that pulled up. I'm glad. It's almost easier doing that than the outbox outlook. It's just, man, it's just try to make it simple and so I can zoom in on it real easy. I'm gonna have to get like a second phone number just for YouTube, you know. Not that I don't trust you guys. Just publicly putting it out there, you know. It's I already got enough spam bots calling me about, you know, some loan I gotta pay or something. Well, would you look at that? Would you just look at it, Eddie? You do just gotta look at it, man. We gotta look at it. What are we gonna look at here? We got Aaron looking at it.
Look at that.
You gotta look at it. We got Ed looking at
That's
it.
a live stream? Yeah. Would you look at that?
We even got Pete looking at it.
Oh, wait. Are you Pete?
No.
I thought you were Pete. My friend Pete and I, we grew up together. We went to high school and we used to play soccer on the same team when we were.
And of course,
Would you look at that? Oh my gosh, just look at it. Just look at it. You gotta look at it this way, okay? You just gotta look at it. That's all you can do anymore.
All Base Tahoe. Man, this guy's funny. He's like, well, isn't that Ed Basemaster's thing? I'm like, yes, but that's the thing. We do the Ed Basemaster on the show all the time. And I would love to get Ed Basemaster on here. And he's not far from me. He lives in Philadelphia and he goes to these local shows and stuff. If I wasn't a father of all these children and stuff and, like, you know, provider, and I could just go to Philadelphia whenever, I would definitely go out to one of his shows and be like, hey, would you just look at this? Would you look at this live stream? Would you look at it? And maybe like jump on with me. That would be awesome, man. Get him in the studio. You know, we can even get him, you know, beside Larry here, but I don't know if he's even alive, you know, like is he alive? I don't know. Let's see. Uh-oh. Maybe not.
Yeah, I'm still kicking. Well, sort of. Never thought a nap would last this long. Don't worry, Johnny's alive, and so am I, just lightly used.
So you are alive over there. Good. Just checking, man. But yeah, moving onward. Yes, would be awesome. You gotta look at it right there on the studio, right beside Larry. It'd be great. Thank you, John. 18 likes, 27, man. You guys are awesome. Look at that. 26 likes, 33. You guys still in here. I know it's late for some of you guys. Like right now, it is almost 11. It's 10:20 at night for me. So it's like a later stream. But other people in California and what have you, it's only 7 o'clock. It's kind of crazy, man. Hello, new to your show. Thank you for tuning in to TR The Roach. I am getting back into systems after 15 years. I would love opinions. You know what Jacob loves? He loves opinions too. So do I. I'm deciding between two Kicker Comp Q10s or a Solo X12 Thoughts. And man, that's a tough one. That reminds me of my buddy Nate that works for us, because he's going, you know, head first into Kicker and just car audio, right? You know, and he's hungry for it. And he's kind of in the same situation. He's got a Kicker Comp Q, right? A 12. And he wants to go bigger, and it's like, okay, Solo X, right? That's the biggest one up, right? Just talking power handling. But even the Comp Q is still a woofer that can do SPL, but it's more designed to be a really good sounding bass subwoofer that also has power handling, excursion, and is loud. It's not just for sound quality and perfectly represents the music it's trying to play, because that's really hard for subwoofers in general that have a lot of output. So the Solo X compared to a Comp Q is apples and oranges. I feel like they do really two different things, and they do each of those things better than the other guy. And the Solo X, you know, watt for watt, pound for pound, a 12 versus two 10s. You know, if we're just talking cone area, like piston area of the SD, meaning the effective piston area, you got your, you know, your 10-inch Kicker Comp, but you ain't getting all 10 inches because the surround is including that, right? So you're getting like 9.5, and then the SD is just the surface area, or, you know, pi radius squared of your area of the effective piston area. So just think of it like that. If we're just trying to compare apples and apples of just SPL, what they're doing. So then you got the SD, the effective cone area of the 10s. You got two 10s. You know, it's a little bit less. So what is that? I think it's 83. No, it's not 83. 12's 113. 88. I think it's 88. So we'll say about 80. square inches of cone area for each 10, so 160, and then a 12 is 144. So you're gonna have a little bit less there, but still the 210's got more piston area. But the 12 has more excursion. So a little thing I like to do to try to compare, just bore and stroke, which one has more movement of airflow, of excursion and surface area, and I try to multiply them and I get a number. And it's not always, oh, this one's better because of this, but it's going to give you an idea. So then you take the cone area of the 210s, which is around at 160, and then multiply that by the excursions. Say it's like 15 millimeters, and you kind of get a number, and then you can get like a root mean square average and kind of like look at it, be like, okay, well, the average of this is this, the average of that is that, because there's more excursion on the 12, but is it double? Not quite, but it's probably more in a total sum with the cone area multiplied by the excursion. And I know it's like, doesn't work all the time, but it's for people that are, thinking of these kind of questions here, which one should I get? If you're talking just SPL, just bore and stroke, which piston's bigger? What is going to be louder? And I feel like either one is really going to do just fine. Now, the 12 is going to be able to handle around the same power, a little bit more than the 2 comp Qs. So that's another thing to think. How much power handling do I have for each version? The 210s, you got 2 drivers, you got 2 motors, rather than the 12, you got 1 single motor. And then wiring configurations, obviously, you got 2 woofers compared to 1. So, and the L7X has only got dual 1 or dual 2 variants, and the comp Qs have dual 2 and dual 4 only. So then you're like, okay, well, I got 2 of these, and I could be at 1 ohm with the dual 4s, or half ohm with 2 of them, or I could be at half ohm with the dual 1 on the Solo X, or 1 ohm, with the dual 2. Either one, I could be at 1 ohm, So, or vice versa, 1 ohm, you get what I'm saying here. So it's kind of, pretty even, but not 100%. I still feel like SPL, the L7X is going to win. But the comp Qs, you put those in a sealed box, you put them in like a box that's designed to play music too, they're gonna sound probably better, more accurate maybe, because you got 2 motors, you got the comp Qs versus an SPL driver more leaning bass sub. So that's a very good question, man, and I'm here all night for that stuff. Thank you to TR. And I take the time to answer those because I see it a lot in bass heads on a budget. I just want to bang. If I was in that group, I see it from other people, and comments even in Kicker Club. But a lot of guys are like, hey, watch the Unmasked show, hit up Kicker, like watch Andy, whatever. we help people out, but there's a lot of other groups where it's like, I want to help, but I just don't have the time. This is my time to do it, and I love doing it, man. Love doing it. Thank you, CAE. Appreciate you again. 2TR. Both you guys are awesome. Johnny Riggin, appreciate you as well. What's up? Love watching your videos. You inspired me to buy a Kicker quad box. Hey, it's the Kicker quad box. I'm trying to get Billy to get one, okay? He needs to get one. They're the one-stop shop for a 150, and not even that. It's just you're going to have 412s in your car. So I love the quad box, man. It's the easiest thing, and there's, got the dual-loaded L7X box, too. I call it the King box, but, I feel like the quad box is pretty on par with that, too, just in a different way. Just like the Comp Q and the L7X debate we were talking about. That is awesome, man. And mine is signed by Steve Irby and numbered. That is awesome, man. Yeah, they made 125 of those. And I love how Steve did that, because like that quad box was like something they just never did before. And it was a special thing. And now like I feel like it's so popular. It's going to be something that they're going to keep making, and that's what Kicker does. Any company, but Kicker really does it. Like if something ain't working, they're like, cut the root off, we're moving on so we can make a new growth, a new line of something, and put our stuff into something that actually works and the people want. They listen to you guys and they see what you buy and they listen. That's why they do the Unmasked show. It's just, they care. So that is awesome, man. And thank you for tuning in, letting me know. That is just, it's more than the donations. It's more than the likes and stuff. It means a lot, and thank you, Johnny. Thank you so much. I do like the donations, thank you, but still, Justin, you understand, man. This guy, full-time YouTuber over here practically. Well, YouTuber teacher. Isn't it the same thing kind of with your channel? Thank you for hanging out. Appreciate you, Justin. Let's see here. Frank, appreciate you as well. Thank you for hanging out. W, oh man, they're throwing the explode bucks, and now we gotta do it. See, bro, you're using maths, you're fired, you're telling me, man. Too many maths, it hurts. Thank you for tuning in, Dubster. I mean, I loved me some Sony Explodes back in the day, man. I was running Sony Explode before I jumped on the kicker train, but they worked. They definitely worked, man. They definitely worked. Uncle Bobby B. Remodificating. It's a word. Remodificating the modifications. Yes, sir. Thank you for hanging out, Jason. Appreciate ya. All right, guys. Let's see. CAO, appreciate yo. Thank you for hanging out, man. Awesome interview you did with that guy at the local shop. I like that approach. And just, if you haven't checked out CAO's channel, Car Audio Obsessed, go take a look at it. He does a lot of interviews with car audio YouTubers, people in the industry. It's just really awesome. Thank you for what you do, man. Thank you for hanging out, too. Shoot Dog! Appreciate you, man. Question: would it be louder if you had two downfiring dual 12s on top of each other versus one box? How would it sound if you faced one up and one down facing each other? Just curious. Now, with the downfiring boxes, I feel like why they excel so much, and it's just the same factor where, what was it? Nate was asking me, how close should I put this box? He's just trying to design a box for, you know, sub, right? And trying to figure out how close to put it to the hatch. And I'm like, okay, rule of thumb is really technically half the diameter of the woofer or the port, you know? And it's just like, you know, rules of thumb, they only going to get you so far. And I'm like, you know, get it close, but not too close, if that makes sense. You got to let the thing breathe, but you want it to load. And I feel like that's why downfiring enclosures work so well, because that boundary loading is so close. It gives you that tight, accurate, just base, boom, 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 just right at you. And with them stacked on top of each other, I don't know, I don't think it would hurt so much, but I feel like if you had them separate, right, and you had them stacked on top of each other, but then you had enough room to put one on one side, one on the other, and you did SPL runs, I feel like them both being on the floor would be louder because they're using that floor as a passive radiator in a sense, like a boundary, like a, because it's going to make reflections and refractions of the sound wave. That's what your windows do. That's what your vehicle does. It acts like this big passive radiator speaker and also makes it a little bit louder and can also hurt you too. So with that being on that big speaker rather than just on top of a speaker box, that isn't going to have all that give, and it's more for solid. It's solid. It's built solid. The box is solid. I feel like you're not going to get that, so the output could be less. Now, for the second part of the question, with one firing, what is it, up and down? Would that be towards each other? Firing dual 12 on top of each other versus one box, how would it sound if you would face one up? Yeah, I would put them beside each other if you can fit. I feel like it's just not going to help too much by stacking them. But you don't know until you try it, trust me. How would it sound if you face one up and one down facing each other? Just curious. Yeah, if you would fire one up and one down, I feel like it would be okay. But I don't know if, because I just, with pushing things to the limit with everything I do, you know, every little baby setup I have, I hook up a CX1800 to it. So I am pushing whatever speaker system I have to the limit, unless it's a quad box or an L7X. And whenever I would have that box real close to the hatch in a vehicle, I would not have loading issues. But then if I would have it firing up to the cabin, you know, about a foot or two away, I would unload, and not even unload, but I would just hit mechanical a little bit faster. So I feel like that would have a big impact on the system. With the one firing up, you're not going to have that loading that driver and box was designed to have by firing down. So you're kind of doing things against of what it was designed to do. When Steve Irby and the gang designed these down firing boxes, they designed them to be on the floor and using the car as a resonator or something, you know, and it just helps so that you still get that low end extension, good loading. I guess I don't even know what you would want to call it, but just so that it doesn't unload, you know, because you're putting these down firing boxes. They're tiny, like they are like less than a cube sometimes for a 12. And I know kicker, they can run down to 0.88 for the L7, not even shallow stuff, but still it's small. So then you're trying to use that vehicle to gain on that low end, because just how waves work. The longer you can make that wave travel, the easier it's going to be able to reach the peak of the wave. And when it reaches closer to the peak of the wave, by the time it hits your ears, and just how cabin physics works, it's louder. So that's why boundary loading helps, because you are extending that wave artificially by having it hit something and then have to travel another way, and then hit your ear. It's just bass. It's what it is. Thank you, Shoot Dog. Appreciate you for tuning in. As always, an excellent question. Did I get the video of Cracker? I'll have to take a look. If it was on Facebook here, I could take a look. The skeleton, man, he is real. Larry is real, man. Larry is 1000% real, man.
Yeah, I'm still kicking. Well, sort of. Never thought a nap would last this long. Don't worry, Johnny's alive, and so am I, just lightly used.
See? Totally alive. Thank you for tuning in, Jason. Van is 300 watt solar panel and lithium 400 amp hour rarely energized the alt charging relay. Yeah, when you got that much capacity and you're only pulling, well, 300 watt solar panel, it's going to take a while to charge that 400 amp hour battery. Rarely energizes the alt charging relay. You know, that sounds like off-road stuff, and I would love to do that. You know, like living in the van. You know, when you got 400 amp hours capacity, that's what I got in my basement. And then I had a 25 watt solar panel, and it was doing nothing, you know, so I disconnected it. You need about 1,000 watts to really have something substantial on a 400 amp hour bank, you know, because you only get 8 hours a day for charging in the sun. You can't charge at night, but there's a lot with that too, man. Thanks for tuning in, man. Cracker, thank you for hanging out. Appreciate you guys. Jimmy Dean. Let's see, am I caught up? Nope, still got more to go. Appreciate you guys. Stupid phone. Okay. 2TR, thank you for your thoughts. I'm leaning comp Q for sound quality aspect. I have a Kicker 1200.1 amp on its way now. Ordering subs tomorrow. Right, so if it's the 1200, it's either, yeah, that would have to be the CXA 1200.1, because I don't think they have a 1200 in the LX, or do they? 1300.7. Maybe they do got it, or it's a 1600.1. Yeah, 1600.1, then 3000. Okay, so yeah, that's the CXA 1200.1, and that amplifier is awesome. It's just a baby brother to the 1800. The CX 1800 and 1200 both have the any load system where they do the same power at 1 ohm and 2 ohm. They're really cool. They're very reliable amplifiers. I put mine in Protect more times than I can count, and they keep on kicking. Don't recommend doing that, but they just do. They just are quality. So, awesome amplifier. And yeah, you know, that's the thing to think about, is how much power am I going to be giving these guys? And I feel like the Solo X, especially the 12, you know, if you look at the Comp Q10, I think, what is it? The 12 is 1000 RMS. The 10 is 700 RMS, I think, or 8. I want to say 700 RMS, because I think it was 600. It was 600, 900 before, but I'll have to double check. But either way, you know, we'll just say it's 1000 watts, and you got 2000 watts of Comp Q, and then you got 2000 watts of L7X. That 2000 watts of L7X is a little bit underrated. Not that it needs all 2000 watts. You can put that CX 1200 on there. But something that's going to work even better on less power, and even the Comp Qs, they're probably going to have less than that. They're probably going to have like 800 RMS piece, 1600. you're even closer to what that amplifier can do, and you're powering those subs without a problem. Like, you're close enough to the RMS range rather than underpowering it. Not that you're severely underpowering it with the 1200.1 on an L7X, because they do rate the L7X 1000 to 2000 watts RMS because it's a very efficient driver. I've tested mine and Kayla's car on 250 watts doing a 140 dB. Now, mind you, it only does a 48.5 on 3K, a 47.6 on 2.5K. You know, so like, it has a nice bump on the low end there, and then like 145 on 500, you know, and give or take, you know, 142, because it's around 2.4 dB every time you twice your power. Mathematically, it's 3 dB, but in practice, it's not. It's close, but it's not. It's not 3 dB. At least in my experience of all the times I've tested, it's never 3 dB. But still, different power thresholds it could be, because you're going to hit that point where it's just like, you know, you're sending it 2 watts and it's already doing a 132, you know? Math, it's fun. That's awesome, man. Yeah, definitely go with the comp Qs in that case with the CX1200. I think you're going to be happier. The subs are going to be just getting more of what they want rather than the L7X being like, me hungry, me want more power, you know? And there is that. Let's see. So mids actually 70% of the music. So mids actually make up 70% of the music, you know, right. I mean, you got to think about it. You know, we're going crazy over bass, and that's, you know, below 40 hertz doesn't count. So 40 hertz, just kidding. 20 hertz to like 80 hertz, you know, if that. For bass, that's what we're most, you know, like, oh man, I got to be loud. And then the mid-range is everything from there up up until like, you know, 1, 2, 3,000s. And then you're talking tweeter range. And vocals, what you hear, it's all mids, man. And you don't want to just skimp on the mids and highs, because even with the L7X15 in my dad's car, on the stock JBL system, it's not quite loud enough for a 15 L7X. It's just not. So, you know, full tilt boogie, it's like, I can't hear what the guy's saying. Now, if I'm playing like some dubstep on Spotify, it's fine. It's always the rebase stuff. They record it quieter for some reason. They're pulling stuff, and it's just harder to get loud vocals out of rebased in a stock application like that, unfortunately. Okay, I'll try. Messenger's a little weird whenever I try to share something here. Okay, is this going to load? Because I don't have internet when this thing is on. There it is right there. No, I don't have anything. I'll see if it pops up. CAE, I think it's all about the door enclosure or lack of experiments incoming. You know, that's the thing with mid-range. They're designed to be free air, technically. Yeah, I know. Like components, I don't know about all like PA or mid-bass, mid-range speakers. But yeah, technically they're not even supposed to, like, when they design them, what is it, the QTS or whatever, one of the teal small parameters that dictate if it's like better to be suited in a sealed, ported, or free air application. They usually tend to lean towards the free air application or very large ported. So know that going in. But then there are factors with just like, you know, just sealing off that rear wave from the front wave. And I think that's the most important thing too. And sound dampening so that you're not, you know, hearing all that rattling in the car. All right, I think it's all okay. Cool. I'm actually caught up. Oh my goodness. James Ford. Damn, Andy, been a while. Didn't even know you had a beard. How you been? Yeah, it's growing nice, and it's a pain in the butt that I'm always taking care of every day. But I love it. I'll never go back. I'll look like I'm 22 again. Thank you, James. Doing well, man. You know, just kicker, sheets, the normal. And I know I was thinking about going to SEMA, and I'm like, it's so close, and I'm like, I can't. I want to. I need a plan for it next year. That's the thing. I mean, this year's been crazy. This year has been insane. Good. but insane. And it's like to fly, get tickets, a hotel. I'll wait. I will wait. I want to go because there's something cool coming. Just so you guys know, there's something really cool coming, and I kind of wanted to be there for that, but it's all right. It's all right. So just tune in for SEMA. That's coming up, and I know Kicker, they'll be making posts, and then as soon as they get back, they're going to do a show on it. You bet, believe me, they will do a show on it. So you're going to see all that stuff as well, and they're going to talk about it, and I'm interested. I can't wait. I need to grab a pair. It'll be awesome. Johnny, downfiring seems to work well in those Jeeps. Johnny says, I have the Kicker quad box in a soft top Wrangler. Do you think it would be better if I fired the subs to the floor? If I have a quad box and a soft Jeep, do you think I would do better if I fired the subs to the floor and raised the box about 4 to 6 inches and fired a port off the tailgate? I know with Jeeps or any kind of, open atmosphere like convertibles, downfiring does help, and I know like sealed enclosures just work really good too, because you're not trying to pressurize a cabin because the port and all the other stuff sealed just work easier. So downfiring, I feel like that could help, right? Because you got the soft top, those base waves are just gonna be flying up and just ripping that apart, or flexing it pretty good. So if you would build the quad box some kind of lifting support to fire them down, I would make sure that you have enough distance for sure, probably at least like 5-6 inches up, just so that those subs can breathe, because I don't think it's really designed for that. Steve Irby built the quad box. He wasn't like, man, we got to make sure that this is good for downfiring. But I think you're on the right track because, again, like how I was saying, how downfiring works, and it just kind of makes, the vehicle turn into kind of like a speaker in a sense. So that might help in your case there. Absolutely, man. Well, yeah, 4 to 6 inches and fire to port off. Yes. I would try both. I'd put it in normally, see how it works. Use your little ear meter, play like 1 or 2 songs so you kind of get how loud it is, and then throw in your new, lifting system that you got there. That'll be awesome, man. That will be awesome. All right, any last questions? I don't need to keep you guys here all night. This is just the after show, and I want to make sure I'm caught up on the comments before we wrap this up, but just, I know it's been a Q&A session this entire time, but there you go. There you go. Let's see. Oh, you want a pair, so it's for a speaker. Annie, did you get to see the blue and green Kicker van set a new record? Man, I see that set a record every year. That guy is really loud. But unfortunately, there is no Kicker gear in that van. I guess there used to be, and unfortunately, it's all sundown. But he's still got the Kicker logo on the side. I'm sure he's probably got like some Kicker like door speakers in there for looks. That is an SPL vehicle. But it looks beautiful, man. It literally looks beautiful. I think that's why he doesn't want to change it. It's an awesome wrap paint job. Yeah, that is awesome, though. I knew a guy with 2 downfiring 15s in a rodeo, and that was stupidly loud, but he never metered it. Oh, man, in a rodeo, what kind of vehicle is that? But still, I feel like downfiring would help in a Jeep with a soft top, or even whenever the top's off, because you're using that vehicle, you're going to feel kind of like the vehicle shaking. I don't know if you ever play like 25 hertz with a decently loud system. It shakes everything. And even 40 hertz, you're going to resonate certain frequencies better or worse with the vehicle's chassis and just how like the trunk is and just your gaining pressure or whatever. But with the open atmosphere, it's a lot different. You're solely relying on that flexing of the floor pretty much, but just microscopically, it's moving just a little bit, it just... You got sound waves and it's pushing on things, and the thing can either push out so far and not, depending its resonant frequency, glass, metal, what have you, and it's going to flex so much. That's why whenever you see the big SPL builds, they break the windshields. It's not because it's meeting that resonance frequency, but it's reading I guess there's the elastic and then the plasticity and elasticity. It's reaching the plasticity pretty much stretching flexibility of that glass, and then it breaks. But it flexes a lot until that point, and then also acts like a speaker. It acts like a passive radiator. But you don't see it until you see it on the big builds, or you look at your trunk and the whole thing's flapping and flexing, boom, boom, boom. That's what your vehicle's doing, but at a smaller movement amount, because it's pretty solid. But it still does it. It still does it. Really does. RP Patel, there we go. That's the guy. 186.7, that's insane. Yeah, if you sit in that, you would literally rupture your eardrum, your hammer, your anvil, whatever the heck it's called in there. You'd be rupturing everything. Cochlea, it's done. It's done. You'd be like, turned down for, yes, I can't hear anymore. I don't care if you turn it down, because I can't hear anymore. Turn it up, I can't hear it. I'm deaf from 186.7 dB. It's done. All right. Yes. Thank you, John Smith, for tuning in, but we are going to wrap it up. Love you guys. Thank you, Jeff Wallace. Zuzu Rodeo. That's what it is. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Zuzu 4x4, a little geo tracker kind of thing. Yeah. Those were cool cars. And I feel like, downfiring would work for that as well. But thank you guys so much for watching. This was a fun show. Kind of just kick back, relax, just hanging out. And again, Brandon, Jacob, Drew, you guys did great tonight. Ernie, thank you for all that you do. Colin in the background, JW, and of course, Steve Irby. We can't forget about Steve Irby. And Steven, you guys are all great. Just keeping the kicker show going, man. Just keep it kicking. Thank you guys so much for watching. SJC is up in here. You're late. You're late, SJC, but I love you. Thank you for tuning in, man. Hope you've been well. And tune in next Tuesday. 99% sure we're going to be doing 360 sound, how ears hear, and just everything about it. It's going to be fun. So make sure you tune in, bring your headphones. And by the way, I don't know, stay living loud or something. See you guys on the next one.
Okay. So we're kicking it with Andy, right? You know what that means. We living loud.
My Bluetooth.
Your Kicker Bluetooth device is ready to pair.
All right, we're good now. Thank you, Steve. Appreciate you guys hanging out. Johnny, thank you for awesome questions tonight. and I think that is a trademark. Hot the button.
Leave a note if you find it.
Hit the button, hot the button, hit the like, kick the like, smash the like the like, do the like that, and just, oh, would you look at that? Look at that. That's how you do it, CAE. You just hit the like. Appreciate you, CAE. Appreciate you guys hanging out with me. And we hooked up Wiz with a kicker sticker. I forgot to show that. We got Wiz as a kicker sticker. He's chilling over there. He's doing all right. Looking a little better, you know. But either way, thank you, CAE. Thank you so much, buddy. And you guys are great. And there it is right there. There it is. All right, no cornut, and we dance. Turn it up. Oh, no! There is cornut! No! No!